Hello everyone. Our today's topic is Laplace transform. We are going to see Laplace transform with properties, definition and few of the examples. Here is the background and scope of Laplace transform. It was named after a famous mathematician and astronomer, Pierre-Simon Laplace. This Laplace transform has number of properties that make it useful for analyzing linear dynamical system. The best part of Laplace transform that it converts differentiation, integration, partial differential equations into an algebraic function and which is easy to solve. That's why it has wide applications in engineering. Now let's go for the basic definition and then we'll go for Laplace transform of some standard functions. So question is whether all functions are transformable under Laplace operator. So answer is no, because a function which is satisfying particular conditions known as Dirichlet conditions are only the Laplace transformable functions. Now which are those conditions? There are two conditions. Very first, that function must be piecewise continuous, that it must be single valued and should have finite isolated discontinuities. Now question is, what is piecewise continuous? If function is discontinuous in the given interval, but if you break that interval into subintervals, then function must be continuous in each of the subinterval and has discontinuity at the end of subintervals. Such function is called piecewise continuous function in given interval. And second condition, that function must be of exponential order. If these two conditions are satisfied, function is called satisfying Dirichlet conditions. Okay, now such functions Laplace is given by Laplace of f of t. So L stands for Laplace operator. Its result is a function of s and it is generated by phi of s. Okay, now the definition says it's an integral 0 to infinity e raised to minus st f of t dt. So this f of t comes here with the operator integral with the limit 0 and infinity and exponential term, that is e raised to minus st. If you see, this integral is with respect to t, so after solving this integral all t goes to constants and only s is remain. That's why resultant function is of s denoted by phi of s, and the range of t is from 0 onwards, that is 0 to infinity. Now let's go for some standard functions, how to take its Laplace using basic definition of Laplace. So here Laplace of 1 we are going to see. Now any constant you can take, say c. So Laplace of 1 by definition it is 0 to infinity e raised to minus st into f of t. Here f of t is 1 dt. So this is very easy to integrate. Its integration is simply e raised to minus st upon minus s. See here, e raised to minus st's integral is e raised to minus st as it is upon derivative of power with respect to t. Therefore minus s is constant, so it comes to denominator in the limits 0 and infinity. Now for t, minus 1 by s is constant taken outside. Now only for e raised to minus st, if you put limit, upper limit gives us e raised to minus infinity and lower limit gives us e raised to 0, and we have in between minus sign as usual. But we know e raised to minus infinity is 0 because it can be written as 1 upon e raised to infinity, that is 1 upon a large number gives us 0. That's why upper limit value is 0 and lower limit, that is e raised to 0, which is 1. And we open the bracket, we get simply 1 by s as Laplace of 1. Therefore it's very simple formula. Laplace of 1 is 1 by s. Say Laplace of 3 will be simply 3 upon s. So in general, Laplace of any constant, say c, is c upon s, as c comes outside and it remains Laplace of 1. Okay. Next, second function is a t function. Laplace of t will be, by definition, it is integral 0 to infinity e raised to minus st f of t. F of t is a t here and dt. We have integration by parts rule, u into v. There is integration by parts but generalized rule, and the condition only u must be algebraic function. So algebraic function means whose derivative is 0 after some differentiation. So how to integrate such functions? There is no condition on v, that's why the rule is first as it is, integration of second, that is integration of v. Let's denote it by v1. Then we have alternate sign, then u dash, that is derivative of first, one more integral of second, that is v2. Then we have plus u double dash v3 minus u triple dash v4 plus and so on. As there is condition on u to be algebraic and we are differentiating u, so it must be 0 somewhere and process will end. Okay, so here algebraic function is t and then we'll be taking exponential as v. So what rule says? First as it is, that is t as it is, integral of e raised to minus st, which is e raised to minus st upon minus s. We have alternate sign, then derivative of t, which is 1, and one more integral of t, so e raised to minus st upon minus s, and the previous s gives us s square. Okay, now derivative of 1 is 0 and the process is over. I repeat, first as it is and then derivative of t is 1 and then derivative of 1 is 0. Similarly, second function is v, its integral is here, then its integral is here, so entire brackets integral is taken, that's why minus s is also carried for next integration, and then next integral will be taken. Okay, in the limits 0 and infinity. Again, as both the terms contains e raised to minus st, for upper limit infinity it goes to 0, that's why entire term for upper limit is 0. Lower limit as t equal to 0 gives us first term 0 because of this t, and lower limit gives us second term as minus. Upper limit e raised to minus 0, that is 1 upon s square only, and finally we have 1 by s square as Laplace of t. So Laplace of 1 is 1 by s, Laplace of t is 1 by s square. We have very important formula here, that is exponential. So Laplace of e raised to at or e raised to minus at. By formula, Laplace of e raised to, let's solve for e raised to at, then it's very easy to replace a by minus a for e raised to minus at. So by definition, it is 0 to infinity minus st, then function which is e raised to at here dt. So there are two terms of exponential, that's why it can be clubbed together as e raised to minus. Now bases are same, that's why powers can be added. We will be adding this in this way, e raised to minus of s minus a into t dt. Okay, now it is single function. With respect to t, minus of s minus a is constant, that's why clubbed together, so its integral is now easy, e raised to minus s minus a times t upon minus s minus a in the limits 0 and infinity. Again, for upper limit, e raised to minus infinity gives us 0, and lower limit, that is put t equal to 0, so numerator goes to e raised to 0, which is 1 upon minus of s minus a. So when we open bracket, we get 1 upon s minus a as Laplace of e raised to at. Very important formula and required in almost all examples in future. Okay, similarly we can write Laplace of e raised to minus at. So just replace a by minus a, we get 1 upon s plus a. Clear? So e raised to at's Laplace is 1 upon s minus a, and e raised to minus at's Laplace is 1 upon s plus a. Standard function is trigonometric function, that is sine or cos. Okay, so we know, solving this both at a time, that is we know e raised to I theta is cos theta plus I sin theta. So cos theta can be written as a real part of e raised to I theta, and similarly sin is imaginary part of e raised to I theta. So what we do, we find out Laplace of e raised to ait, because it will be then Laplace of cos at plus I sin at, and at last we will be separating their real and imaginary part to get both the Laplaces. Okay, so by definition we get integral 0 to infinity e raised to minus st then function that is e raised to ait dt. Okay, now again there are two exponential terms in product, so their powers will be added as, let's collect all the constants together, that is minus of s minus ai into t dt. So it's easy to integrate now. It is e raised to minus of s minus ai t upon derivative of power, that is minus of s minus ai in the limits 0 and infinity. So with respect to t, minus of 1 upon s minus ai outside, upper limit, again the case is e raised to minus infinity, which gives us 0. Lower limit t equal to 0 gives us e raised to 0, which is 1. So we get here only 1 upon s minus ai. Now denominator is of complex form. Let's convert it into real by multiplying it by its conjugate. Okay, so if we multiply this by its conjugate, that is s plus ai, and also divide with s plus ai, we get numerator as it is s plus ai, and denominator we get a minus b, a plus b form. That's why a square minus b square form. Okay, so if we simplify it, we get s plus ai upon s square plus a square. So you can see real part of this side is s upon s square plus a square, whereas imaginary is a upon s square plus a square. Notice left side of this, left side is nothing but the Laplace of cos 80 plus I sin 80. Therefore we can take Laplace of cos 80 separate. This is called linearity property. The Laplace, that Laplace of addition of two functions is addition of their Laplaces. So we can take Laplace separately, that is Laplace of sin 80 is equal to s upon s square plus a square plus I, a upon s square plus a square. Now these two combinations, complex combinations, are equal. So we can say they are equal only if their real and imaginary parts are equal. Therefore we get first formula, that is Laplace of cos 80, which is s upon s square plus a square, and Laplace of sin 80 is a upon s square plus a square. Now make it very clear that cos contains s at numerator and sin contains a at numerator, whereas both denominators are same. So confusion may happen with these two. So make it very clear, cos contains s and sin contains a. Where is a? It is here, sin of 80. So sin of 3t will be Laplace of sin of 3t, say it will be 3 upon s square plus 9, whereas Laplace of cos 3t, for example, is s upon s square plus 9. This is the difference in sin and cos. We saw Laplace of 1, Laplace of t, Laplace of e raised to 80, Laplace of e raised to minus 80, and then now sin and cos 80. Here is some hyperbolic functions, sin and cos hyperbolic 80. Okay, let's see Laplace of hyperbolic sin 80. We know that hyperbolic sin 80 can be written in exponential forms, e raised to 80, e raised to minus 80 upon 2. And we know Laplace of exponential functions, so just we have seen. Therefore Laplace of hyperbolic sin 80 is nothing but half of Laplace of right side, that is e raised to 80, minus Laplace of e raised to minus 80. We can take separate Laplace of each of the term using linearity property, and we know each of the Laplaces, that is 1 upon s minus a, just we have seen, and 1 upon s plus a. If we take the cross product, we get half of s plus a minus s plus a in the cross product upon denominator is a minus b, a plus b form, so it gives us a square minus b square. So here the cancellation of s, and only 2a is remain. That 2 is also cancelled with these 2, so only a upon s square minus a square is the Laplace of hyperbolic sine 80. Remember, Laplace of sine 80, that is trigonometric sine, was a upon s square plus a square. So make the difference. Laplace of simple sine 80 is a upon s square plus a square, whereas Laplace of hyperbolic sine 80 is a upon s square minus a square. So only difference in sine and hyperbolic. Similarly, if you go for cos, we get Laplace of hyperbolic cos 80 is s upon s square minus a square, whereas we know Laplace of cos 80, trigonometric cos 80, is s upon s square plus a square. Here is also difference of minus sign only. Okay, so confusion may happen, please note this. Here is the list of some standard functions, that is Laplace of 1 just we have seen, Laplace of t we have seen. If you go for Laplace of t square using the definition, you get 2 upon s cube. So note this, 1 by s square, 2 by s cube. Then we saw proof of Laplace of e raised to at, then e raised to minus at, sine and cos also, hyperbolic sine and hyperbolic cos also. Okay, so only thing is we haven't seen Laplace of t raised to n in general. Its Laplace is given by gamma of n plus 1 upon s raised to n plus 1. If you assign some value for n, say 2, then we get gamma of 2 plus 1, that is gamma of 3. We know gamma of 3 is a 2 factorial, so it is here, and s raised to 2 plus 1, that is 3, so we have s cube here. So by assigning value of n as a 2, 1 or 0, we get first 3 formulae. So this is general formula for first 3. Therefore these 4 can be clubbed together. Then these 2 are also same, e raised to at and e raised to minus at. Again these 2 are also same, sine and cos, only of difference in numerator. You can club these 2. Okay, so moreover, if n is integer, if n belongs to z plus positive integer, then gamma of n plus 1 we know it is n factorial as a property of gamma upon same denominator s raised to n plus 1. Therefore Laplace of t raised to half is gamma of half plus 1, that is gamma of 3 by 2 upon s raised to 3 by 2, whereas Laplace of t raised to 5 is 5 factorial upon s raised to 6. So this way we can use that formula. Then new function is there, that is ERF, known as the error function of root t. Error function of root t's Laplace is 1 upon s root s plus 1. Its proof is there, but for that we need some properties of the Laplace. So we'll be solving this formula as an example after few properties. Okay, now let's have few examples on the definition of Laplace. Very first, find out Laplace transform of sine 2t into cos 3t into cos t. Okay, very first I must say here that except few cases, Laplace of product is not allowed. I repeat, Laplace of product of two functions not to be taken except few cases. Those cases are called as properties. Therefore we have to split these products into some addition or subtractions of the functions. Okay, so we need this formula here, that is sine a into cos b. We have half of sine of a plus b plus sine of a minus b. This is known to us, but still for a revision. Then sine a sine b can be written as cos of a minus b minus cos a plus b. And the last one, both cos, that is cos a cos b, is half of cos of a plus b plus cos of a minus b. Okay, so this function is a product of three functions. So let's split it into, take any two functions first, say serially sine 2t into cos 3t. So here this is sine a cos b form, so first formula will be used, which is half of sine of their addition, that is sine of 5t plus sign of their subtraction. So sine of 2t minus 3t is minus t. That's why this can be written as half of sine 5t minus sine t. As we know, sine of minus t is minus of sine t. Now this two function is converted into addition or subtraction of two functions. Now let's multiply it by cos t to get our original function. So f of t, that is, multiply both sides by cos t. So cos 3t into cos t is half of that. Cos t goes inside, so sine 5t into cos t minus sine t into cos t. So again we have half of this. First term is of sin a cos b form, so use same formula again, that is, it is another half of sine of their addition, that is 60, plus sine of their subtraction, that is 5t minus t, which is 4t here, minus, again this is of sin a cos b form, so it is half of sine of their addition, that is sine of t plus t, that is 2t, plus sine of their subtraction, that is sine of 0. Okay, so if we simplify, we get 1 by 4 outside as half everywhere. Then sine 60, which is in standard form, sine 80, plus sine 4t, which is also in standard form. I am saying standard form in the sense this function belongs to one of these formulae. This is our standard list. Okay, so we have sine 80. Sine 80's Laplace is known to us. That's why I am saying here sine 60 and sine 40 are in standard form. Whereas this is minus of sine 2t, also in standard form, and sine 0 is 0. That's why only three functions are here. Now our RHS is in standard form. It means its Laplace is known. Therefore we are taking Laplace on both sides. So left side is f of t is nothing but Laplace of sine 60, where value of a is 6. That's why 6 upon s square plus 6 square, that is 36, plus again same with a is equal to 4. So 4a upon s square plus a square, that is 16, minus here a is 2, that's why 2 upon s square plus 2 square, that is 4, and this is the Laplace of given function. Okay, so through this example we come to know that Laplace of product of function should not be taken. That function should be splitted into some addition or subtractions of standard functions, and once it is in standard form, then we take Laplace on both sides. We have 7 e raised to 2t, which is already in standard form, plus 9 e raised to minus 2t, standard form, plus 5 cos t, yes, its Laplace is known, plus 7t cube, plus 5 sin 3t, plus 2. So you can see every term of this function is in standard form. So we can directly take its Laplace. So Laplace of given function, so we know the linearity property, 7 can be taken outside, Laplace of each term separately, plus 9 Laplace of e raised to minus 2t, plus 5 Laplace of cos t, plus 7 Laplace of t cube, that is t raised to n form, plus 5 Laplace of sin 3t, and 2 is constant, and Laplace of 1 we can write. So therefore it gives us 7. Laplace of e raised to at, where a is 2, is 1 upon s minus a, that is 2, plus 9 times Laplace of e raised to minus 2t is 1 upon s plus 2, very clear. Then 5 times Laplace of cos t, so cos at, a is 1 here, is s upon s square plus a square, that is 1, plus 7 times Laplace of t cube. Now let me write here Laplace of t raised to n, here n is integer, then it is n factorial upon s raised to n plus 1. Therefore n value is 3 here, that's why 3 factorial, which is 6 upon s raised to 4, plus 5 times sin 3t, a is 3 here, that's why 3 upon s square plus 3 square, that is 9, plus 2 into Laplace of 1 is 1 by s. So here is the answer for given function. Example 3, find the Laplace of sine cube 2t. So sine cube 2t is a product of two functions, sine 2t 3 times. Therefore, we cannot take its Laplace because it is not in standard form. We know Laplace of sine 2t, not sine cube 2t. Okay, so let's split it. But we know sine cube t can be written as 1 by 4 3 sine t minus sine 3t. That's why sine cube 2t, so double the angle, so it is 1 by 4 3 sine 2t minus sine of 2 times 3t, that is 6t. Okay, and we know this is in standard form, this is in standard form, so we can take Laplace on either side. That is Laplace of sine cube 2t is 1 by 4, Laplace of each term inside, that is 3 into Laplace of sine 2t is 2 upon s square plus 2 square, that is 4, and then sine 60 is 6 upon s square plus 6 square, that is 36. That's it. This is Laplace of sine cube 2t. So again we splitted the given function which was in product form into the addition or subtraction of two standard functions, and then we took its Laplace. Example 4 of similar kind, hyperbolic cos cube 2t. Again, hyperbolic cos 80's Laplace is known but not cube of 80. That's why we need to convert it into standard form. But we know hyperbolic cos 2t can be written in exponential form as e raised to 2t plus e raised to minus 2t upon 2, and then its cube. So it's, if we take its cube, we know the Laplace of exponential terms. Therefore 1 by 8 as cube here, then a plus b cube. What is a plus b cube? Let me write here. A plus b cube is cube of both terms first, that is a cube plus b cube, plus 3 times first square into second plus first as it is and second square. Therefore e raised to 2t's cube is e raised to 60, e raised to minus 2t cube is e raised to minus 60 plus 3 times a square, so e raised to 2t's square is e raised to 4t second as it is, e raised to minus 2t as it is, plus first as it is into second square is e raised to minus 4t. If we simplify, we get all the terms in standard form, that is e raised to 60 plus e raised to minus 60. If you open the bracket, e raised to plus 2t plus 3 times e raised to minus 2t. Everything is in standard form, so we take Laplace on both sides. So Laplace of hyperbolic cos cube 2t is equal to 1 by 8. Laplace of e raised to 60, 1 upon s minus a, that is 6. Here is minus 60, that's why s plus 6 plus 3 e raised to 2t gives us s minus a, that is 2, and here 3 upon s plus 2. Okay, we can take its cross product, but this is sufficient for us. So Laplace of hyperbolic cos cube 2t is this last term. In this session we saw the condition for a function to be a Laplace transformable, which is Dirichlet conditions. Second, definition of Laplace transform, then Laplace transform of some standard functions, and few common examples.